Welcome to South Florida, or should I say, the wild side of South Florida. So although the state is overpopulated with people, there are still areas where nature thrives. Florida has many types of habitat, all worth exploring.
But today we are going to search in this habitat, which is referred to as pine savanna, for a reptile that I have a soft spot for, the Gopher Tortoise. So come and join me as we take a brief look at the life history of this really neat reptile.
Including sea turtles, Florida is home to over 24 species of turtles. Most of them are considered aquatic or semi-aquatic. Two, however, are terrestrial: the handsome Florida box turtle and the Gopher Tortoise. The Gopher Tortoise is a fairly large, heavy-bodied reptile that lives in dry, sandy upland and coastal areas of the southeastern United States. Aptly named, the Gopher Tortoise lives in burrows that it excavates. These burrows not only act as a shelter from predators, but provides a microhabitat for adequate humidity and insulation from both the heat and cold. Now, some of these deeper burrows maintain a temperature above 55 degrees in the winter and below 80 degrees in the summer.
So a Gopher Tortoise community is referred to also as a cluster or a pod, and there is only one adult Gopher Tortoise that utilizes a burrow at a time. Although young animals, juveniles and hatchlings, have been found to coexist, at least temporarily, with adult Gopher Tortoises in their burrows.
Many other animals utilize Gopher Tortoise burrows for shelter, either from the elements or predators. Although some predators such as frogs and toads will hunt for insects and spiders in the burrows. Additional animals that use the burrows temporarily include birds, small mammals, lizards, and snakes. And speaking of snakes, my favorite animal that often lives alongside Gopher Tortoises is the magnificent eastern Diamondback rattlesnake. So as you can see, the Gopher Tortoise burrow is important because it provides shelter and food for many types of animals. In doing so, the Gopher Tortoise is referred to as a keystone species. And in order to preserve biodiversity in many parts of Florida, we need to first protect Gopher Tortoise communities and their habitat.
Because the Florida Peninsula is overcrowded with people, most Gopher Tortoise communities are not far from dense residential areas, including this one, which is protected in a preserve in Southwest Florida.
A Gopher Tortoise spends the majority of its time in its burrow, and being diurnal will exit its burrow to bask and also to forage. Weather conditions and time of the year will influence a tortoise's level of activity above the surface, including the duration and what time of the day. Broadly speaking, Gopher Tortoises during the summer are active from sunrise to mid-morning and near sunset, while during the cooler winter months they are restricted to midday. Gopher Tortoises are vegetarians, and their favorite plants to eat include sea grape, milk pea, simlax, stinging nettle, poison ivy, scorpion tail, beautyberry, and many species of grasses. Tortoises depend on bacteria and roundworms in their intestines to aid in digestion, especially of tough plant materials. A brief mention on reproduction. Gopher tortoises mate in the spring, and it occurs when a male encounters a receptive female on the surface. 15 to 30 days after mating, females will dig a nest in the sand and deposit 5 to 7 eggs. Clutch incubation is between 80 and 100 days. So I am on an established hiking trail, literally surrounded by a sea of saw palmetto. And there are numerous gopher tortoise burrows throughout this saw palmetto habitat. And I could wander through and certainly find the burrows and the animals themselves. But what is easier to do is that the trail that I'm on is packed short grass that the gopher tortoises love to forage on. And when you're lucky, you can actually find them right on the trail itself. I don't see any at the moment. So the next easiest thing to do is to look for their signs, to look for their movements back and forth from their burrows to the trail. And right off to the right here is literally a gopher tortoise trail. So we're going to follow that and it will lead directly to the burrow. There's the burrow, and I see the tortoise. Probably can't see it, but it is underneath one of the saw palmettos deep in the shade. And when the sun comes out, it's shady. Oh, it's taking off. So just under that cluster of saw palmetto is a gopher tortoise burrow. So we're going to quietly go over there and see if the occupant is out. Okay, he or she is just outside the burrow. Let's quietly approach. As you can tell, he or she is on a mission right now. Probably just exited its burrow not too long ago, basked for a while, and now will come out and forage for several minutes up to a half an hour or so, or at least what I have observed in the past. Or he was just chasing me away. Tortoises are relatively intelligent, and that intelligence usually is wrapped up in curiosity. And the turtle is in foraging mode, so I think it approached the GoPro initially out of curiosity, and then I don't know if that was caught on camera, but it tried to taste the the GoPro, excuse me.